Okay, we'll do that again.
Well, that was good practice. They said we're not streaming, so.
I heard her.
Yeah, I think you can see David working on the thing there. Okay. All right, let's try this the third time. Subdivision Committee, October the 14th, 2021, take 3. Roll call, Russ Ford, Planning and Building Services.
Alex Sequeira, Transportation.
And Marlena Dooley, Environmental Health.
All right, thank you. So let's start with agenda item 2A, boundary line adjustment 2021-0028 for Ishvialm. The applicant agent is Vance Ricks. This is a boundary line adjustment to reconfigure 4 acres between 2 separate legal parcels. Lot 1 will decrease to 13.38 acres and lot 2 will increase to 20.89 acres. This is in the coastal zone, 1.1 miles south of Casper on the west side of State Route 1 at 13751 Point Cabrillo Drive. Our staff planner is Tia. So do we have anybody here representing this application? Not seeing anyone. Environmental health, what's that?
Marlena? Can you tell?
I can't, there was nobody on when I was in the conference room. Let me check real quick. But that's not for this one.
That's fine. Oh, you're right. The first one is Angela. Then.
So I think we did have one person that wanted to speak. They're trying to work out the bugs on that. So while we're waiting for that, environmental health, do you have any comments or concerns?
Well, I had one thing that my staff came up with and that I can see is that there's some mix up with address and APNs, which we can fix later. And I wondered if that was a result of the CC that happened or if you knew, since you're the main addresser. But, and I see Angelica.
Hi, I'm so sorry. I'm actually here for item 3A. So I think there's been a confusion here for the minor subdivision.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. This whole meeting is an event today. So we'll get back to you in a few minutes, Angelica. Sorry.
Sounds good. Thank you.
No, Marlene, I know we did have 2 separate addresses on this. I think they had started to do permitting on one of them because they does own another parcel to the south. So I think that Aaron and I had communicated and got that squared away.
Okay. I was going to ask them, there's 2 wells and a septic on these 2 lots. And I wanted to just confirm that the way they're moving that boundary, one of the wells is just going to be maybe 20 feet in the lot. But that's not a deal breaker. That was just the one thing I was going to confirm with them that they knew about moving towards the well.
Okay.
That property line on the north parcel.
North parcel. Well.
There's a well on each lot. And one of them's marked and one of them's not. And the one that's not is the new line's gonna get closer to it, but it should still remain on the parcel.
Okay. Alex, any concerns from DOT?
No comment.
So this is a coastal project, so it does still have to go to the coastal permit administrator. Planning is just recommending conditions per the staff report. So can I get a motion to recommend approval to the CPA?
I recommend approval to the CPA of boundary line adjustment 2021-0028.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, next up, agenda item 2B, boundary line adjustment 2021-44 for Marinos Properties LLC. This is a boundary line adjustment to reconfigure the boundaries between 3 existing lots. Lot 1 will increase to 9.6 acres. Lot 2 will decrease to 2.4 acres, and Lot 3 will decrease to 2.3 acres. Approximately 2 miles north of Ukiah on the east side of North State Street at 410 Ford Road. And Dirk Larson is our project coordinator. Is there anybody here for this item? I don't see anyone. Okay, environmental health. Any comments on this one?
There's an offsite easement supporting the septic to parcel 1 is proposed to be on parcel 3. And I want to be sure that the offsite easement stays in place. They submitted a deeded easement, and I'm just double checking that that is gonna be maintained with this change.
Yeah, so the boundary line adjustments don't affect easements in any way. Anything that's still recorded is there. Is there something that we need to request to change from them, you think, just to make sure? Or you're content with just the fact that it remains recorded?
It's on the tentative map. I just didn't see any notes about it.
Okay.
Dirk Larson, project planner. I can reach out to the agent, and if you'd like, request some kind of document to support what you're requesting here.
Okay.
I don't think Ron Franz, the agent, intends to participate this morning.
And that's fine. And Ron is the one who I believe handled the paperwork for the deeded easement. Boy, when was that? Back in 2017. I don't know. I think Russ's assurance is good enough, because I don't know, besides the deeded easement, what else he would turn in.
Well, if you just wanted a statement or something, but Russ is right. It's a deeded easement. It's not going to be relinquished in this project here.
Not affected by the.
Yeah, not affected at all.
Okay, that's it for me.
Okay, Alex, any concerns?
No comment.
And planning is just recommending standard conditions. So can I get a motion?
I motion that we approve boundary line adjustment 2021-0044 with standard conditions.
I second that.
All in favor? Thank you. Okay, next up, agenda item 2C, boundary line adjustment 2021-42 for Michael Montano's Trust. This is a boundary line adjustment to reconfigure the boundaries between 4 lots. Lot 1 will decrease to 56 acres. Lot 2 will increase to 113. Lot 3 will increase to 168, and Lot 4 will decrease to 44. Approximately 4.5 miles southeast of Talmadge on the east side of Old River Road at 5400 Mill Creek Road. I don't see anybody here for this application either. Environmental health, any comments?
No comments.
Transportation?
No comments.
Okay, and planning is just recommending standard conditions again.
I move that we recommend approval of boundary line adjustment 2021-0042.
I second that.
Second. I'm gonna record that as approval because we are the approving body in this case. Instead of a vote.
Oh, sorry.
It's been a day. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So that concludes our boundary line adjustments. So next up, we have agenda item 3A, which is minor subdivision 2021-0002 for Rural Communities Housing Development Corporation, RCHDC. The agent is Court Munsell. This is a 2-lot minor subdivision of a 4.1 acre parcel to create one parcel of 2.37 acres and one parcel of 1.73 acres, 0.6 miles northeast of the city of Ukiah at the intersection of Brush Street and North Orchard Avenue. And I am the staff planner on this. Let's see, we've got Angelica. So Court will get you brought into the meeting here.
Hi, I'm Court Munsell Civil Engineering, representing the applicant. Happy to answer any questions that you have. And I do have just 2 questions from the conditions that were presented. Both are related to the same, I guess, issue. It's condition 31 and condition 41I of the works. So condition 31 is related to water and sewer services for the new lots, one of which already has water and sewer. The other one is anticipated to be developed in the future. Same question related to condition 41I, not a commercial road approach. So certainly it's anticipated that will certainly serve sewer and water and have a commercial entry. Probably the issue that we're facing is we don't have a developed site plan for that lot yet. So I'm not sure where those are going to be located or need to be located. So I wanted to ask if there's flexibility in recordation of that subdivision as it relates to those 2 conditions. Ideally, we would record the subdivision, the parcel map, and then come in with a development plan that delineates the location for services and the commercial entry.
I didn't get most of that. I hear condition 31 is a question, and I heard that him say that one of the parcels already has existing service. And I heard the words flexibility.
So Court, I think your modulation is real low, maybe a little bit closer to the speaker. And let's start with condition 31, which is an environmental health condition. And that's what the applicant shall either submit to EH, a letter from the district stating that water and or sewer services have been installed to the satisfaction. Okay, so let's start with that one, Court. And if you want to back up a little bit and just focus on your question for condition 31 right now.
Sure. Sorry, I put a headset on. Does this sound more clear?
Much better.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry about that. So yeah, my questions for 31 and 41I are the same. Lot 1 already meets those requirements, so there's no issue there. Lot 2 is planned for future development. We don't know what that development is going to look like yet. So ideally, we'd be able to record the parcel map for this while we're working on development plan for that parcel. And that development plan would be what determined location of utility service, as well as the commercial entry for lot 2. So what I'm asking for is if there's flexibility in the timing of, certainly it's going to be serviced by public utility and access, but we're unsure at this point, and ideally we'd like to record the parcel map while we're figuring out what the development plan for that site looks like.
Well, the second half of that states that if you don't want to pursue getting the letters of installation prior to getting approval, that there's a performance bond that can be submitted to the Department of Transportation.
Mm-hmm.
That second half, it's a big paragraph.
Yeah, no, I read through that and saw that as well.
So those are the two either ors.
So is there, I guess what I'm asking, is there any additional flexibility there? Because certainly the only development that can happen is going to be required to utilize those services. I just don't know the timing of when that development is going to happen yet. So ideally, we wouldn't have to put stub utilities to that site until we're ready to develop. And ideally, we wouldn't have to sit on a performance bond until we're ready to move forward with development.
I don't know of an alternative in meeting condition 31 besides installing them or bonding them to be installed. If you want the parcel to be created and finalized.
Okay, understood. And then I have the same question from Public Works for the entry.
So you guys are just unsure on where actually the commercial road approach will be going, right?
Correct. Yeah, we just need to have a more developed and solidified site plan before we could answer that question. And I'm unaware of the timing of that.
Okay, because I know you guys already have the encroachment permit for the phase 2 improvements, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we do.
So that would be, so you're saying that plan would be modified?
That plan would be modified to include wherever this future encroachment would need to be located.
Okay. I would be fine with modifying the condition that upon development of lot 2, to be on the parcel map, kind of like we did on another one here, that basically, note shall appear on the parcel map for lot 2 that a commercial road approach is required to be built prior to any development. I would be fine with a condition like that.
That would certainly work for us.
So Alex, if you want to send me a copy of that modified condition whenever you get that written up, and then I'll incorporate that in the staff report later.
Okay, sounds great.
I have a question.
Mhm.
When does it create enough change that we need to bring it back to subdivision?
Well, we haven't approved anything yet, so what? I guess I don't understand your question.
So the map that we have in front of us today is what we'd be approving, right? With conditions?
Correct. Yeah, just tentative approval, and then it goes to PC. I mean, recommendation. I'm sorry. We're not actually approving anything. We're recommending conditions based on all of our separate concerns. And then planning commission is going to be the one to choose to implement those conditions or modify them or whatever they choose to do. And court, I was also going to say that's another option. You can present that same concern to the planning commission about the EH condition, and they may choose to modify it or go some different route with it.
Okay.
Does that answer your question, Marlena?
Not really. Sometimes they have to go all the way back to subdivision because they submit significant changes. And I'm just kind of wondering if we can give them an outline of what would cause them to go all the way back.
Right.
Since they're so not sure about how they're developing on number 2.
Well, I don't see our tentative map changing. The proposed lot line easements, all of that stays the same. It's just the access points for utilities and the commercial entry location that's potential. And that's not I wouldn't think that that would affect the tentative map.
I would agree, yeah. Okay, so one thing I do, since court, I think we have both the planning and the transportation conditions in the recommended conditions that I sent you. I do want to go through EH's recommended conditions real quick, just for my records.
It's just number 31.
That's the only one? Okay. Well, that was easy.
You didn't tell me my phone was ringing.
Okay, Angelica, did you have any comments or anything you want to add here?
No, I just wanted to thank you all for your time here, and thank you, Court, for representing us. I think you brought up the points that we wanted to discuss in this meeting, so thank you all.
Okay, so I think that's all we have. Unless you have any other questions for us right now, then the next step is going to be, preparing the staff report and getting this thing scheduled for Planning Commission.
Appreciate your guys' time.
Let's go ahead, Marlena, let's go ahead and have a mission to send these proposed recommended conditions to the PC.
I recommend approval of the recommended conditions of minor subdivision 2021-0002 to Planning Commission.
You're muted,
I
Bill.
second that.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, and last item today, pre-application conference. So we're on agenda item 4A, which is PAC 2021-05 for the Rorick Trust, Roxanne Rorick. This is a potential minor subdivision in Redwood Valley, 7 miles north of the town of Redwood Valley, 4 miles southwest of the intersection of northwest of the intersections of East and West Road at 17,000 Tomkai Road. So our staff planner is Angie Lane. And then Brooke, if you could, let's get Roxanne in the meeting and I'll have Angie introduce the project here.
Hi, Angie Lane, Planner Tech. This project is a pre-application conference to review a request to subdivide approximately 220 acres located at 17,000 and 16,250 Tomkai Road in Redwood Valley. The current configuration of 3 parcels will be subdivided into 3 parcels with a remaining parcel. The project will include the necessary utilities, including water source, septic, and road access. The only existing structure currently is a hunting cabin located by the pond and is unoccupied most of the year. To note, there are fees that will be associated with the project. First of all is a $7,840 fee for inclusionary housing. This is based upon the number of parcels that are created and is a fee also, this is the lowest percentage. It's based on the median house value and is a fee that would be paid to the Planning and Building Department. There would also be a check necessary for the Sonoma State University, or in place of that of $75, a previously conducted archaeological survey for the subject site. There's also a fee of $2,530.25 for the Department of Fish and Wildlife. And then if they plan to go, if we go through with this, then obviously the minor subdivision application fee of $859. That concludes my portion.
Okay, thank you.
Roxanne, so anytime you want to jump in here, go ahead. Just,
Okay, you know what? Let me actually, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, I'm actually going to switch screens. I'm going to try to open this in a different window. Let me see if this works. Okay, never mind. Never mind. There we go. This is fine. All right. So just to recap, you said there was about, I think it was 7,840 fee for the number that had to do with the number of parcels.
So that is an inclusionary housing fee. So for every
Inclusionary.
project in the county, you have the option to either, for every subdivision, you can either dedicate some of the lot, some of the development space to building inclusionary housing, multifamily housing, or instead of that, you have to pay an fee to this kind of fund that will then be used to create this housing in other places. So that fee kicks in, I think, when you have 2 or more vacant parcels being created. So we calculated it at 2. The first one, I mean, the first one is already vacant. You're not creating a new parcel that already exists. So this is 2 to 3 lots, which is 2% of the median home value. So right now with this proposal, it'd be about $7,800 for that annual fee.
Okay. And so if I were to just do one parcel, then that fee would not apply?
Correct. If you just did a 2-lot split, you would be underneath that threshold. There would be no housing fee.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so let's bounce over to environmental health right now and hear about any comments or conditions from you.
And I just want to clarify that this would be processed as a minor subdivision, right?
Correct.
So we just had a subdivision, so I have the conditions in front of me. And what I would say, if this got submitted tomorrow, that the conditions that environmental health would put on the parcel would be that number 24, which is advanced written notice when soils pits are being dug. Number 25, which is that an acceptable septic report would be submitted for all parcels, because I have no record of any permitted septic systems for any of these parcels at this time. So number 25 would say parcels 1, 2, and 3. We'd skip number 26 because I have no permitted septic systems on record as of today. And then we do number 28, which would be the site map, which is typically rolled into the septic reports. And then there would be the water requirement. For this minor subdivision, it would be, because of where it's located, it would be the 1,200 gallon proof of water test and an acceptable general mineral analysis from a state certified laboratory. So that is a lot of information. What do you guys think?
So the proof of water test, again, I can't keep those straight. Is that for every parcel, or that's just on one parcel for the entire development?
For this one, because it is located inland, it would be one, and because it's a minor subdivision, it is one proof of water test that can hopefully result in enough water to be approved for the subdivision. So each parcel, each proposed parcel needs to have 0.5 gallon per minute. So if they run one test off of one well, that is 1.5 gallons per minute through that test, then that covers the subdivision. If it's only 1 gallon per minute, then they need one additional test. So that's part of why it gets confusing, is ideally it's just one test and you have enough water to meet the demonstration requirement. But if the first well does not have 1.5 gallons per minute, then you have to do another one until it adds up to 1.5 gallons per minute.
And the 1.5 gallon number you're getting at 0.5 gallon per parcel.
0.5 gallon per minute per proposed parcel.
Got it. Does that make sense, Roxanne?
Yeah, let me clarify a couple things. First of all, you're reading off numbers and I wasn't sure. I wanted to be able to reference number 24. Where are those coming from?
So planning and building, when we review subdivisions, there's a list of conditions. And it covers all of the conditions that planning, transportation, and environmental health would recommend to the planning commission for approval of the subdivision. I happen to have one in my hands because we just did a subdivision. So I was referencing that list. I don't know that you would have had one supplied to you ahead of time, but we can certainly give it to you.
That would be great. Yeah, I looked a little bit through the packet. I didn't see it here, but I also haven't looked through every page today, so.
Looks like Court has his hands up. Is that relevant?
Yes. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Roxanne, I have that list. I'll forward it to you. So you'll see it in your inbox here in just a second. And
Great.
then Marlena, I had a question for you about timing of proving water and septic as well. Is that required prior to Planning Commission to verify that there's adequate area for septic disposal as well as half gallon per minute per new parcel creation? Or is that just a condition that's required prior to recordation of the parcel map?
It is prior to recordation.
And
You can-
what happens? What happens if we aren't able to prove septic or water capacity for one or more of the new parcels? Can the map be modified at that time without going back to Planning Commission if we're dropping lots because of those findings?
I hear the question as, even though it doesn't need to be done before Planning Commission, if we do it before Planning Commission and find that we can't support 3 full lots, that we can only support 2 lots, do we go back to subdivision? Or can we submit a revision that does not go back to subdivision committee before Planning Commission? Is that the question?
Sorry, close, but yeah, just after Planning Commission, when we get tentative map approval and we're going through condition compliance, proving the parcels are capable of supporting the requirements and meeting the conditions. At that time, if we weren't able to prove water source, could we reduce lots? Like if we only proved a half gallon a minute and we can only have 1 new lot, could we drop the other 2 lots without having to go back to Planning Commission to modify the tentative map?
Russ?
No, I think that would require a mod. But
Okay.
Marlena, are there some other options about storage if they weren't able to prove that the flow rate for that?
Well, if your water source is less than 2 gallons per minute, we strongly recommend storage. It is not an alternative to meeting the condition.
Okay. Good clarification. Thank you.
So just to repeat one more time, we would basically not be able to just drop one of the divisions, would have to do another map submission, another tentative map submission.
You'd have to do what's called a modification to the parcel map, which I think it's about $400. And I don't know. There's an associated fee for just modifying the map, and then it would go back to hearing for approval. You don't have to restart the whole process again, but there is some extra steps.
Okay.
And ideally, Roxanne, we just prove adequate septic and adequate water before we go to Planning Commission. That way we know what's
Prior.
potential out there.
Right.
Yep.
So everybody balance?
Right, that makes sense. Okay. Let's see, and jumping back to conditions, number 24, I heard something about soil, but I missed the full, well, I guess I could,
I'll read the condition to you. The applicant shall provide to the Division of Environmental Health adequate advanced notice, written notice, a minimum of 15 days of the date and time of any field soil testing procedures for any proposed on-site sewage systems to allow the Division of Environmental Health staff to be present for soil testing.
okay, great. And then I can look at the list for the others. Thanks. Okay, so we've got the soil for that one, septic report, which would need one for each parcel, and then an evaluation of the existing septic for the cabin.
Yeah, I have nothing on record about that.
Okay,
Marlena, that cabin is on the designated remainder parcel. Is there anything, Is there anything that would be required on a designated remainder?
Not at the time of subdivision.
Okay, but if, yeah, so that one, I mean, it might be a good thing to do, Roxanne, but not a requirement of the subdivision.
It would be deferred basically to the whatever time you chose to develop that parcel.
So upon upon development, you'd have to do that soils work.
Okay.
All right, Alex, you want to look at any transportation concerns there?
Yeah, I had a couple of, one thing I was looking at the kind of tentative map here, and I was looking at Parcel Viewer, and it looks like there's a property. Let me see.
You're in Parcel Viewer, you said?
Yeah, I'm in Parcel Viewer, and it looks like the way that they had the kind of the tentative map laid out, it looks like, the property line of the remainder parcel goes through possibly an existing parcel that is not part of the subdivision.
Alex, I could probably answer that. Yeah, so historically the access comes off Tom Kai and it goes through what Roxanne on the map is calling Parcel 3, then goes on to the neighbor and continues through Parcel 3 before accessing the designated remainder. I don't know. I haven't looked at title reports, so I don't know if there's a formal easement related to that. Certainly, it's likely that a prescriptive easement would exist through there if they needed to go that route. But regardless of that, access and lots 1, 2, and 3 would touch public road. So I'm not sure that would need to be resolved.
I was looking at the parcel configuration near west of the pond. There looks like there's another parcel in there, APN 107040022.
Where the road crosses into that other parcel, is that the question?
Yeah, and then on the map that you've supplied as part of the pre-application conference, it just doesn't reflect that.
Yeah, I haven't looked into those details yet, but
so they'll get further refined. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is, just so I know where you're at, you're looking at a different map you're comparing it to a different map than the one that I submitted.
Correct. Yeah.
And you're looking at the part just below the pond, that little rectangular area?
Yeah, just west of the pond. You kind of, on the map you provided, you have that property line, from the pond going west, directly out before then it gets into a square shape. But
right.
When I was looking on Parcel Viewer, I was noticing what appears to be another parcel that, that goes through.
What's that number you're seeing?
I'm looking at APN 107040022.
Okay, so I gotta back up. The application didn't have an APN on it, but in Trackit, the APN that is showing up in planning's database is 107-05604.
That's one of them. Yeah, I think there's 3.
There's three, yeah.
But the one that you're looking at specifically is 107-10. What's that again, Alex?
107-04022.
So there's a little 7-acre parcel, kind of a rectangle that sort of sits in the middle of this. It's a separate ownership. It's kind of an island.
Yeah, I guess I'd have to see the map that you're looking at to understand the difference.
So,
okay.
Russ, which of us can share screen?
Probably just me.
So we've got these parcel maps. I pulled them up. We could just look at them.
I thought it's a huge, concern of mine for, related to anything is just, something I noticed that on the map it didn't, correctly line up.
Yeah, I mean, I think there definitely that existing access to the designated remainder crosses probably two parcels that are not under Roxanne's ownership. And like I said, likely those would be prescriptive in nature if there's no legal easement that currently exists. But the 3-lot subdivision all touches, would not need to cross through any of those. I don't know that we'd have to get resolution to those, being that they all are accessed off and touch Tom Kai Road, and don't have to cross through any of those areas to get to the proposed building areas.
Right. Yeah. That wasn't a huge of my concern. It was just more of showing that 7-acre parcel on this, map that you guys show.
Oh yeah, and this is a pretty rough map, so certainly
Okay.
the tentative map would refine these parcel lines
Okay.
to clarify those.
Gotcha. Generally, the Department of Transportation is, unfavorable of having, remainder parcels as its purpose, but I don't think there's a lot that the Transportation Department can, we can't place conditions on the remainder parcel. So with that being said, yeah, both the 3 lots, 1, 2, and 3 have direct access to Tom Kai Road. On the parcel 3 that you have shown, there's an existing private road approach. That road approach would need to be constructed to county standard. So we're talking about paved approach there, roughly 20 feet back from the edge of pavement.
Okay.
And then lots 1 and 2 are undeveloped right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would recommend a condition that would be, upon development of those parcels, that a road approach, residential driveway approach would be put in for each of those parcels.
And that's, sorry, at which step would that be? When would you need
For
that?
parcels 1 and 2, I would recommend a condition that a note would appear on the parcel map that upon development of those parcel 1 and 2, that a residential driveway approach would be built to the county road.
So we're assuming those parcels are going to access the Tom Kai. Is that right, Roxanne? Of course.
Yes. Yes.
And then I can follow up with I would need to do a little bit more digging around on the right of way that we have on Tom Kai Road. There may be a condition that we recommend to be a strip of land along the frontage of the subdivision to be dedicated to the county. Like I said, I need to do a little bit more digging on that one to see what our right of way is. And
What would that, can you explain a little bit what that would mean?
so that would mean, a strip along, along Tom Kai Road for the future development of the road. And oftentimes in subdivisions, we recommend that you dedicate a strip of land along the county road. That way, for future development, we would own a section of the road. Usually, it's 30 feet from center line.
Portion of the road off of Tom Kai, you're saying, or?
Yeah, like
on-
along Tom Kai, fronting the properties you're looking to subdivide. So along the frontage of 1, 2, and 3, the portion of the property that fronts Tom Kai Road, we may ask for a dedication of 30 feet from center of the road.
Okay.
Roxanne, just sometimes the right of way or the dedication or the easement isn't enough width for what the county needs. And so this is the opportunity for them to get and clarify that right of way on county road. So it's, I think, pretty common condition.
Okay.
That's something that would just be done when the map is filed.
Right.
Process.
Other than that, those are the main things, because if the remainder parcel was an actual parcel, we would have conditions for the road improvements to serve that parcel. But since it is a remainder parcel, can't place any conditions on that.
Okay.
Alex, what do you think about like a conditional CC or something? Because that road approach would have to be improved at some point, right? Not necessarily the whole driveway, but I mean, if we can't do it with the subdivision, it would have to come up at the time that they pull the building permits.
On the remainder parcel?
Yeah.
To do the rest of the road improvements?
Well, to do anything, the septic work and anything else that would be required of the other parcels that we're not requiring of the remainder parcel, we could record a conditional CC for that.
Yeah.
Memorialized.
Yeah, that would be something that we could do.
And maybe if you could just expand on that a little bit. I'm not sure what the conditional CC, but is that just meaning that if you ever develop designated remainder, then you shall meet fire safe standards for residential driveway access, county standard for encroachment on Tom Kai, that kind of language?
Yeah, basically. So, when it comes to remainder parcels, jurisdictions, we can't condition a remainder the same way we can parcels 1, 2, and 3. So everything that we're requiring here for septic and water and road is deferred for this remainder parcel, and that could be decades, depending on how far down the line that it takes to get developed. So conditional CC is just a way of memorializing these requirements and saying just, hey, heads up, at whatever point somebody pulls a building permit, you're also going to have to do these things before you get that building permit. And so once those things are done, you get the septic, you get the road improvements or whatever, we would file what we call a clean CC with all the conditions met, and then you'd be cleared for building permits.
Great.
Okay.
The standards for the road improvements would be a 22-foot wide rocked road.
Is that is a subdivision road standard? Wouldn't it be considered just a residential driveway, or would it be a subdivision road up until the point it touches that parcel?
It'd be a subdivision road up until it touches the parcel, the parcel boundary, and then usually we put like a hammerhead T at the boundary line, or depending with the building site or something like that, the turnaround for fire services.
In your subdivision ordinance for access to a single lot like that, is there flexibility in road width? Can you request to do 12-foot wide road with turnouts every 300 feet, not exceed 16% slope or whatever? And is there wiggle room as far as that overall 22-foot width? Because I'm sure that would be challenging for this parcel, especially where it crosses over neighboring property.
Yeah, see, that's the hard part with getting in the conditional compliance. I mean, because normally we would, if this was another parcel, we'd be asking for, probably a 40-foot easement to go through there. So, I'm not too familiar how the CCs work.
We can follow up on that, Court. I think we need to do a little bit of research, maybe.
Okay.
Well, what if you thought of it as this is actually a parcel in the subdivision? Would you say get a letter from fire, and if they say it's okay, then maybe we could?
We'd definitely, if it was another parcel, we'd ask for the 40-foot easement regardless. And then it would have to be, an exception procedure would have to be filed. and then we can take into account, some of the, if there's constraints or, we have a tab H for exception procedures, depending on, what the case might be, sensitive habitat, or, it's just not feasible. You got a cliff on one side and, other topographical issues going on that maybe we can work with, and, work with the fire agency and what they would require as well.
That answer your question?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I think the preference there is to not address anything related to the designated remainder at this time. And then, and Roxanne and I have not spoken about this, so we'll need to talk about it as well. But I think the thought is that, anything related to development of that parcel would come at a much later date. So I don't know that it creates issues for the subdivision at this point.
Well, the only thing at time of subdivision, we would want the approach improvement to be done.
Yeah, because that road is existing, right? That's the trigger.
Yeah, and it's the approach is not up to county standard.
Yep.
Okay. Can find out more about that later.
I can walk you through that piece, Roxanne, outside of this meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can do that. An encroachment permit would be needed, and you can contact me and I can go over the specifics on the encroachment.
Okay.
Okay, did you guys have any other questions for us? It was kind of a lot of information, I know.
Let's see. I think got most of it. Water, soil, you said someone, so with soil, someone will come out and check that at some point, or I will do an analysis.
So the standard procedure for the subdivision is when you're going to have the backhoe out there to get the soil samples, you need to let us know a couple weeks in advance so that we have the chance to come out there.
Okay.
Then you dig the soil test pits, you work on your septic design, your site evaluator submits the septic reports to environmental health. They're reviewed for code and approved. And then they wait. You don't have to build them. They just have to be reviewed and approved to demonstrate that these lots can stand on their own for septic requirements. And
right. Okay.
Then the condition of what number 25 would be regarded as met.
Okay, great. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's see. I don't think I have any other questions right now with what we worked through. Court, did you have anything else?
I don't. That was really helpful to get clarification on a couple of those items. So I think I'm clear on what needs to take place to move forward.
Okay, great. Yeah, I appreciate you guys meeting with us. One thing I did just want to mention is that we're probably going to be having some fee updates in the next couple of months. So depending on when you submit, this application fee for the minor sub might go up a little bit. We're not quite sure what that's going to look like. We haven't even started the hearings yet. So just be aware that some of these things might be changing.
When are the fee updates? Are they
I think the
January 1st?
I'm not sure if there's a deadline. They're supposed to start having meetings about it next month, I believe. So it's hard to say when any of that stuff is going to get rolled out. Just keep it in the back of your mind.
Yep. Appreciate that.
And I don't know if it's worth mentioning at the end, the fish and wildlife fee and what it's at right now.
Yeah, we did. I think that was on there.
Okay.
25.
People always seem surprised by that one.
Yeah. 25 is what it is right now. And that does go up every year. So.
Okay.
But that's a state thing.
Okay.
All All right. So yeah, you guys, feel free to reach out to us if you need some more information. Angie's the one that put the project together, so she can help you coordinate, or, just contact any of us directly and we'll be happy to give you some more information.
All right.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. So that is the end of our, I guess we're on agenda item 5, matters from staff. Any comments, any matters you guys want to discuss?
Thank you for having the subdivision conditions done ahead of time for all of us to look at together.
Sure. Yeah, that's my goal. Yeah, and let me know if there's anything that's missing. It's, sometimes it's kind of like herding cats trying to get all that stuff together. So please let me know as soon as you realize something's missing. Okay, so I guess we're done. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion we adjourn.
I second that.
All right, see you guys later. Thanks.